We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all believe. And it feels alright where the worlds collide. Manipulation stands to make us break. What's that you said coming over you? You wish it upon a star. You wish it on a star. You are, you are, you are. You fight back, it's an all-out attack. It feels like I've been taken on the world's machine. Because I want it more than anyone can dream. You look back and it's all in the past. You tell me how you live by all the things you do. Well, you can be yourself, but maybe I'm not you. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all.
Good afternoon, welcome to NUFC Matters, Talk of the Toon with me and Sid. Songs from the Attic 1977. Go and give him a sub on his YouTube channel. Good afternoon, Sid. Wait,
how are you doing?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
I can't be sponsored by other companies, so
you're doing a dual in here, like that's what Joe does. Good to have you on, mate, as always. And we'll be changing it around a little bit halfway through the show and doing a little bit of music. Rob will be joining us, and got a game to look back on. Got a defeat, Sid, and a frustrating one. I think that came out on the fans forum last night, I think, from the lads who, all had different opinions, as the fans forum often do, but, collectively all disappointed and can see the positives that Eddie Howe can see because, we are playing some great football at times and we are creating chances. 21 shots on goal, 5 one-on-ones with the goalkeeper. And we came away with zilch 0-0, mate. Disappointing.
It is. Someone was saying we've gone 400 minutes without an open goal, like from open play. And it's a long time. We played again. I was sitting next to I sit next to a fellow called Stephen. He's lovely. And we're chatting away and we're battering them. I mean, dear me. And I just said, we've got to score. We have to score. Otherwise, they're going to catch you. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did, We were just so dominant, but you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. It's really straightforward when you've got that much possession. And we've definitely changed styles this year. There's no doubt about it. The style of football has changed. And he's definitely going for more of a possessional style football than what we've done in the past, where we were certainly more counter-attack, I would say. And it's a definite difference. And the question I've got is, do we have the players who are able to play that style of football? But also, and I keep coming back to it, and I hate to say this, we don't play the system where we can have a number 10 who can just create chances and do all these different things. And if we did, it could have been a different result as we are look at it, you know. It's just very rigid style of football. We play really well, but we got nothing up front. I mean, Gordon, he played really well, if I'm being honest, but he snatched at his chance. Isak, the one chance that looked like it was going in, Jacob Murphy ran across the goal and knocked it wide. I couldn't believe it. It was going in. It was going in. The keeper looked like he was going the wrong way. Isak wellied it as well at that point. But then again, he missed a sitter at some point with the one-on-one. And normally Isak, when fully fit, would tuck that away quite comfortably. He's very cool, isn't he? But he just wasn't match fit. It was clear as day he wasn't match fit. So I ain't going to blame Isak, you know, and some people have really slaughtered him online. I mean, I was coming out of the match and people are effing him, blinding him, giving it all the, oh, he's this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, remember last season we scored 25 goals? I mean, yeah, we can't keep harping on all the time about the past, but the guy's got a proven record now that he can do the job. And his goal ratio record is still magnificent, goals per minute. So, hey, away. It's the whole phrase, form is temporary, class is permanent, and the guy is a class act. Whether he's an out-and-out number 9, though, is, again, always up to debate, and he's a 9.5, isn't he? He's a 10, really. If Callum Wilson was ever fit, then you'd have him up front, possibly, and have Isak playing behind for certain games and vary the formation. But it was disappointing. I mean, I'd mentioned last week how well Danny Welbeck was playing, didn't I? And said he had like an Indian summer. And of course, he went on and scored. And the defending for that was truly, to quote with this from me, mate Ian, truly diabolical. It was just absolutely horrendous. It was so bad. I mean, Dan Burn was nowhere to be seen. Fabian Schär seemed to be sort of moonwalking backwards. He was that slow. And Livramento, hack him down, chop him down with 35 yards. The chances of him scoring a 35-yard screamer from a free kick is slim. And if they do, round of applause is what I'm going to say. Just chop him down if you think you're not going to be able to get the ball off him properly, you know, and be a little bit ruthless and take the yellow card. It's too nice. It's too nice. I'm not going to have a go at Lewis Hall for coming back because he was just trying to do his job coming back the other direction. I thought Livramento's defending was awful, and Fabian Schär's was terrible. And I'm a huge Fabian Schär fan, and I don't know where Dan Burn was. I've seen him at some point just casually jogging back. Yeah, if he had any intent or pace, there was a chance when the player was just going towards the left. If he ran just straight, if he was quick, he'd have had a chance to catch him. And this is why I keep harping on about it. We need a centre-half with pace. And I'm not trying to dig out Dan Burn, because apart from that, I thought he played all right.
Man of the match for me, him and Lewis Hall, I'm afraid, and Joe Linton. I thought those were the three who came off the pitch.
But you can see the goal. For me, it can't be in the conversation. You know, so
one goal is not an issue, Sid. If you score the goals that you should be scoring from 21 goals, it is a collective responsibility.
It is a collective responsibility.
You can tell I played centre half. You can tell I played centre half. But for me,
I was left wing.
The likelihood of conceding a goal in game is there for all to see. It's going to happen. Newcastle's back four is not the problem this season. It's the forward line.
I disagree.
We spent the summer trying to sign Gahey for 70 million. We've got Botman coming back in December. We needed a right winger or a centre forward, Sid, for me.
I mean, I personally think, Botman, good player, very good player actually. But again, and I keep saying this every week almost, against your speed merchants, I wouldn't be playing him. I'd play somebody with real pace. I was watching the thing with Sean Longstaff the other day and he's going, Botman, no, he's lightning. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's quickish, but he was done last year against Nunes, who's much quicker and just flew past him. And against your speed merchants, we need somebody with proper pace at the back. And pace covers up a lot of mistakes. And I personally think with Kelly there at the back, he would have sort of sorted that out. I really do think he wouldn't have got close enough to score. That's my opinion anyway. I still, I would have played Kelly. I think he would have resolved a number of issues. Schär was terrible. And I'm a huge fan. Burn played well. My man of the match, torn between Lewis Hall and Joe Linton, I thought was excellent again.
Yeah. So we agree on that.
I've seen mixed reports online. Craig Hopes was, not over enthusiastic. I thought all three midfielders played really, really well. I thought the midfield was excellent. The three of them were terrific. Tonali, looked fantastic. And again, going back to the substitutions, I didn't understand any of them. I didn't understand why Tonali was taken off. At that point, he started to dictate play. I thought he looked fantastic. Don't get it. I thought Bruno was very, very good, very assured. Caught a couple of times on the ball. He needs to cut that out, but generally was superb. And Big Joe was brilliant, in my opinion. I thought he was excellent. It was an 8 out of 10. But I don't get it. I mean, Gordon played well. Isaac, yeah, it's just one of them things. But we need to finish. And I keep saying it, change the formation. Maybe play 2 up top or play 1, I mean, if you look at Forest yesterday, and they have a different formation, they vary it, and he was playing 4, and then I think he had 2-3-1. And I would like to see Newcastle adopt that on occasion. And if you look at it, there's no coincidence all of a sudden Chris Wood's playing really well for them because he's got a formation that works and scores. And it's not because he was awful at Newcastle, even though he didn't play very well generally, but you've now got a manager who's adapted to his style. And I think we need to be seeing a little bit more of that, a little bit more of adaptation and variations in the games. And I'm sure Eddie Howe will say, I'm doing it, but it's not obvious to my eyes. The eye test doesn't seem to be working for me. As I say, we'll play super football, but we need to vary it up a little bit more. I mean, they were quite a strange team. They came for a draw. Yeah, and I was genuinely shocked because I'd said last week I went for 3-3, and I thought it would be end-to-end, Keegan-esque, back and forth, and it was none of that. They didn't do any of that. They played a totally different style, and that's clever management in some respects. He was making sure he got his point, and we just couldn't finish. Same with Everton. Fulham was a totally different game, but it's just so disappointing. Yeah, it's just disappointing.
I think
he's got to change it.
I think, well, for me, the game that I was watching on Saturday, I thought he changed it because I thought that, to be honest, I thought Gordon was playing more and Howe was playing more of a 4-4-2. Gordon was playing more of a central role alongside Isaac at times, and it almost seemed like we were blending into a 4-4-2. But, I'd love to know what Howe's reasoning was. The substitutions for me was bizarre. They were bizarre. I agree with you. Yep. Tonali coming off seemed a strange one. The only thing I can think of is that because he again played full games in the international, but the guy's been sitting around doing nothing, and ultimately I don't understand. If that was tactical, I think it was wrong, but we'll never know whether it was or not. He could have took anyone off other than Joe Linton, Dan Burn, and Hall for me. I mean, Burn again got himself in the way that chance, which was goal bound, got his backside into it and cleared the ball. Lewis Hall, with the exception of giving the ball away in the first 5 minutes, I thought was exceptional. I thought it was excellent. Even for the goal, he nearly got back. I mean, Livermore had a head start on Hall, and Hall got back and almost got his leg wrapped around to prevent the ball from, prevent him getting a shot in. But it is what it is. But finger pointing's no good. I saw Shaw getting hammered on X at the weekend, and I thought that was ridiculous. And then people are saying, well, watch back all the goals we've conceded this season. They're all Shaw's fault. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be they're going to go past the centre halves, aren't they? They are going to go past them. But Fabian Shaw's got us as many points as he cost us in his time at Newcastle, I would imagine. So
he's been magnificent. There's an argument he might be dropping off a little bit, but he has been magnificent. Let's not kid ourselves, But I mean, Hall, I love Hall's reading of the game. I think he's very intelligent because he's not lightning as he's not super quick. He's decent, but he's not super quick, but he reads the game really, really well. Very intelligent footballer, and possibly got the best vision at the club in terms of touch and pass. He seems to have the full package. Really, you can see why. And I keep saying he could possibly play as a sort of holding midfielder, but you can see why has played midfield in the past. He's a very, very intelligent footballer. But just go back to the subs for a second, Steve. They were terrible. I mean, Willock was awful. And for me, this is his big season this year. It's make or break season for Joe Willock. He's had a number of... on his days, he's superb. And then there was that time just before he got injured. I think he was going to get called up for England. I thought he should have been called up for England at the time. Certainly ahead of Gallagher, that's for sure. And he got injured, and he's never been the same player. He's fits and starts. Some people say, no, he should have a string of games. Then if he does, then play him in the under-21s or whatever and give him game time there and get him back into it, because he's miles off the pace. Miles. And if he doesn't start doing something this year, he's gone for me at the end of the season. And yes, he might be a better footballer than Sean Longstaff, but what Sean Longstaff is genuinely consistent. You know what you're going to get out of him. 6 out of 10, not amazing, but does a job. Whereas at the minute, Willock's either a 2 out of 10 or an 8 or a 9 out of 10, and you need a bit of consistency. And unfortunately, the 8s and 9s out of 10s are about once every 8 or 9 games by the looks of it at the minute, and he needs consistency, and it's not happening. I thought Longstaff came on, why take Tonali off a man who's got a pass on him, or Bruno, and I get they might have been tired. Why take players like that who've got vision and can pass a ball and stick Sean on? And I'm not denigrating Sean here, by the way, but his role is not to sort of whip in balls and crosses and all the rest of it. I didn't understand that at all. So leave at least one of them on and let Sean come on by all means, but it didn't work. It just didn't work. And then you're giving the young lad, yes, he didn't touch the ball, but he did a couple of runs, and again, nobody pushed the ball through to them. One of them was a fabulous little run, and the player just held the ball. I thought, what's the point of putting the lad on? Masula up front, when he did a cracking little run and nobody seen it. Nobody had the vision just to ping it over the top. He looks lightning quick, and he's built like a tank. He's a well-built lad, so he's going to knock people off the ball as well. He seems to have a bit about him. But we don't know until we actually see him physically play. He might be awful, but he might be a good player. So how do we know until we actually see the lad play? Good luck to him, hopefully. Hopefully he'll do a job. But yeah, it was so disappointing. And the atmosphere was as flat as a pancake. It sort of, to me, when I saw the flag getting mangled up at the beginning of the game, I was thinking, Steve next to me, oh, this isn't looking good, is it? And it turned out to be the case. It was like everything just sort of crumbled. But you get games like that sometimes. I remember once we battered Leeds United. And I'm trying to remember who's in goal. It might have been Nigel Martin or someone. And we must have hit 30, 35 shots on goal. Pulled off worldies all left, right, and centre, and we got beat 1-0. And those things sometimes just happen, but it wasn't like that on Saturday. There weren't enough shots on target. We don't shoot enough. I want to see us take a shot from the edge of the box a little bit more. Barnes can do it, but again, he came on and did nothing. And I want to see people taking a chance a little bit more often. So what if it goes over the bar? So what? At least you've had a chance. Or so what if the keeper just catches it easily? He might drop one at some point, but you ain't going to score if you don't take a shot. Yeah. So just shoot. On some occasions, shoot. Let's not try and just pass it in 60 men like some of the old Arsenal goals. Let's just welly it. On some occasions, you need to put your foot through it, and we aren't doing enough of it. And you heard the crowd shout and shoot on a number of occasions as well at the match. But it was the flattest atmosphere for quite some time, I thought, on there.
Somebody else made that point. I thought it wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as bad. I mean, we're not going to get PSG every week, but it was just a typical Premiership game for me, where the first 15 minutes is plenty of singing and shouting, and then when you collectively start to feel like it's not going to be your day, it gets difficult to motivate, and then the away team supporters get on top by singing "Where's Your Famous Atmosphere," and it was very
quite good, to be fair to Brighton. They were quite good.
Very little to get us out of our out of our seats, and it had that kind of feeling of inevitability. Sadly, let's catch up with a few of the people in the chat. Trevor says, "I can't be with you today, guys." He says, "But starters for 10. Wilson, Isaac should be up front. 4-4-2. Someone needs to grow up ahead, and someone needs to earn a living." That was from Trevor in Thailand. That was his mini rant before he shut off. Davey Eddie says, "I agree with Sid. Welbeck should have been taken out, and Isaac is a number 10 for me. Teddy Sheringham type. Wilson is a straight number 9. He's just not fit enough." Gary says, "I still don't think we're playing to Tonali's strengths. Should we be utilising his dead ball skills expertise?" Now, this is the point I've been making on the last couple of shows. He did come in with this kind of reputation for being a dead ball specialist. We've never seen him take a free kick, because when he signed in the games he played before his ban, it was Kieran Trippier taking them. Now he's back. Trippier's out. You can't get any other free kicks in corners again. He's not being utilised. So
there was one the other day where Bruno took charge of it, and Bruno's got a good pass on him. Bruno's not got a good free kick on him because that's not his speciality. He doesn't hit the ball with pace. Yeah. You know, he's got this weird action when he hits the ball, Bruno. It's a bizarre one. But he's a super sort of slot, you know, he can slot a ball through, but he doesn't have that whip thing going on. We don't know whether Tonali's got it. I'm sure he has. And there was a couple of times the other day I was crying out for him to have a go. And he went up to speak to Bruno, and Bruno basically ushered him off as the role of the captain, which was a little bit annoying, is the polite way I'm going to say it. But again, this ties in with the whole, what are we doing with regards to free kicks in corners? What are we doing? It's as bad as I can recall it. I mean, we went through a phase where we didn't score for about 4 years from a corner, and this is not a million miles away from it. It's really awful. We got a team of giants, and we aren't utilising their height. I mean, Dan Burn, the guy's 6'7", 6'8", whatever he may be. Use it. At the minute, he's just casually walking into the box, and I'm not having a go at him. It's about
he's standing stationary in the box. He's standing like a tin.
Barge through and knock people over as he's trying to get through. You know, that should be his job.
I can hear my old football coach going, "You're standing there like a tin of milk," which is basically what he's doing on corners.
Yeah, and it looks like you couldn't get a chronicle under his feet. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, come on, man. I want to see more of it.
That's not down to him. That's down to somebody at the club who's supposed to be dealing with set pieces, who they're quick to pat on the back when it goes right, but when it's going wrong, nobody seems to hold their hands up and say it's us. Now, Howe and Tyndall are in control. That should have been drilled into them this week, going into the next couple of games. Shooting practice, target practice, make the keeper work, shots from outside the box, feeding the ball to Isaac's feet in the box because he loves it. He loves getting the ball in
the air.
So give it to
a big guy, he's awful in the air.
And work on bloody corners, man. Make something different. A variety of corners. Don't just hoof the ball straight to the back post where it either hits a defender and goes out for another corner, which you're going to waste, or into the keeper's arms. That's where our corners are all going at the moment.
Look at what the Arsenal are doing. All right, so you've got the Arsenal playing with, like, they're varying the free kicks, they're banging them in. Surely you can just video record them. Oh, so very old-fashioned there. Tape them, whatever it might be. Record them and watch them and steal their ideas. Surely that's what coaches must be doing up and down the country. It can't be hard. It really can't be hard. And, you know, we watched a great one against Arsenal the other day. Fabulous, fabulous goal by Bournemouth. There are a number of different free kicks out there. Go and take this repertoire of free kicks and vary them and do something different. It's so tedious. I mean, when we have the only player I know at the club who's any good off a corner is Lascelles. I can't think of anybody else. In the past, we've had some great ones, like Gary Speed was magnificent at it, and players like that, and Ferguson and all these guys. But my God, it's so stilted. There's no movement. There's no real aggression. It's just very, very simple. That the keeper shouldn't be able to just casually walk out 6-7 yards and just go up and collect it. If he does, I want him to have to trample on two of my players first to be able to get the ball. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want him to have a free run. So, you know, we need to be a little bit more canny about things, and it's just depressing because we know we've got the players there. We should be higher in the league if we were playing to our full capabilities, but we aren't. And confidence obviously is a big factor in football. And the next 2-3 weeks are going to be massive.
We're coming into a tough period of games.
If we lose them, oh, good God. The pressure will be massively cranked up on Eddie Howe and the staff. But then he's got a get-out clause for me because of the fact that they've not backed him for almost 3 windows. Mm-hmm. You know, yes, he can do a certain job, but he can't do miracle time after time. You know, they've not backed him. They've not given him an attacking forward. They've not given him a right winger. They've not given him a centre half. So they've not given him the tools to do his job properly. Yes, he's open for sort of criticism. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, he's not got the tools to be able to do his job properly, and so for me at the minute, some of these calls from are stupid, stupid for him to go. I just don't quite get it. The guy's not being given the tools, and are they going to rectify it in the window? They might get one in, is the way I look at it, and that's not enough. We've stagnated, and in football terms, and it's an old cliche, you go backwards. We did it a number of years ago. Remember, I think we qualified for the Champions League, and then we got Lee Boyer once, and that was it. And we could have really pushed on. And then years later, when we qualified for Europe, and we got Vernon and Anita on a free or whatever it was, or 2 million or something, and you're thinking, wow, there was really an opportunity just to bump on. And we were at the same boat at the moment where we've not pushed on. The squad, the first starting 11 is no stronger than it was 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Is my view, or if it is, it's very slight. Okay, very slight. Yeah, after we finish 5th, so we'll qualify for Europe. So it's just not. It's not. And I'm worried about some of the players. Livramento is not the same player he was last year. He's nowhere near the same player. On the flip side, Hall is considerably better, and he looks a top player and a real prospect, in my opinion. And he's going to be very, very close, in my viewpoint, to the England squad. Very, very close, because there's hardly anybody who actually plays that position. Yeah. Whereas Livramento shouldn't be anywhere near it at the minute, and yet he's getting a call in.
Can't be too far away, Hall. A couple of comments come in. John Gandhi says, key thing with Hall is he's excellent with the ball. His ability to control the ball, move it and keep it is excellent. Fullbacks are so important nowadays. They need to be able to be an outlet. John then continues to say, Willock's clearly in need of a run of games. Injuries really hurt his form. When he and Joe Linton linked on the left a couple of years ago, he was in his element. And he finishes off with how Will do his usual with Asula and introduce him very, very slowly, just like Bruno and Tonali. Now, Ken makes a point he's made before in the chat, which is that Asula was awful for 90 minutes against League 2 Wimbledon. I'll be so surprised if he was good. He says, unfortunately, I don't think he will.
He really good runs, and they just didn't give him the ball. I thought the passing was atrocious against Wimbledon.
I think it was a game of two halves. I think he got his, I think we discussed this, didn't we? And he got himself together once the crowd got behind him, but he's ploughing alone furrow up front, and that's not his game. He plays in a 4-4-2, and this comes back down to formations and what Trevor right at the start of the programme said about, playing 4-4-2. I think if you can get the right combination, that would work. And I said it a while back, why doesn't somebody, do what Pep does and be the leader rather than being the sheep and essentially changing things, bring 4-4-2 back into the game, find a good big one and a good little one and get them up front for Newcastle, and it could work, But yeah, we just need a bit of luck. If the luck turns and Newcastle can add goals to the way that they're playing, things might look a bit better than we think in the next month or so. But tough games coming up. We will see. We're coming up to the halfway stage. We'll have a quick ad break and then we'll bring Rob in. Big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can contact them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk. Or telephone 01768 210 102. A big thanks to our NUFC Matters fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. They are the Travel and Tourism Award winners 2024. 2-crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. All excursions included. Contact them at their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com or telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the technical side of things. And don't forget, we are also a podcast, and you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to help the channel, you can hit the like button, which is the little thumb under each video. You can click the share button to share it to other social media, or subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button and it is for free. We still do 7 shows a week. Hit the join button and you can join the channel for $1.99 a month to help support us. We do promote events on this channel. Derek Wright is holding his official book launch at the Tyneside Irish Centre, 15th of November. Tickets are £22 and that does include a signed book. Tickets are from newcastlelegends.com. Gold Star Promotions and Gateshead Leisure Centre are bringing Lennox Lewis to the area as part of his UK tour. You can get tickets by calling 0191 250 5066. Tickets start at £39. The Long Sands are back in aid of Dementia Matters and being supported by Lilac Lane and the Chris Norris Band. Saturday, January the 4th, 2025. Tickets £15 from newcastlelegends.com or from the Clooney box office. Peter Beardsley will be at the Tyneside Irish Centre on the 10th of January, 2025. Tickets are available from newcastlelegends.com or from Woucher. An Evening with the Entertainers takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House, the 24th of January, 2025. You can buy tickets for that now from the box office, 0844 249 1000, or from the website, tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk. And the Magpie Lounge is now open at Gateshead Leisure Centre. 7 tokens for £99. Call 0191 250 5066 to book your tickets today. And the first of those tokens will be the 31st of January, an evening with Lee Clark. If you just want to buy tickets separately, call 0191 250 5066. And the book everyone's talking about, The Entertainers, 1992 to 1997, Kevin Keegan's Legacy, is on sale now. The book will be posted out on the 1st of December, written by Will Scott. Over 30 contributors to this book. newcastlelegends.com or Amazon to buy it today. And it's a big welcome to Rob from Give Up the Ghost UK for our music section. How are you, Rob?
Very well. Are you both all right?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you. And a big shout out to Rob Maltman, who's in the chat. He's working away on his Dart stuff. He's the guy who designs all of our flyers. Thank you, Rob, for everything you do, mate. Great work as usual. So, from one Rob to another, what are you bringing us today? Well, we'll find out in a second. This is what you're not bringing us today. Another classic. Wicked Lady underneath the noon tonight. Dear me, some great costumes there, Rob. And I thought I would join in, Rob, with this. This is a book that Sid won't be reviewing today. The Room Where Dracula. Yes, I think the rest of it's quite it's quite self-explanatory. But yeah, fantastic stuff. So, what are you bringing us today, Rob?
See your surname as well on the book.
Yes,
your surname on the book, brilliant.
I didn't read it out.
Well, this was a request for Dean Charlton, and it's an EP by Bruce Springsteen. EP obviously being an extended play, and if you look at old records, you'll see things like EP or BW, which is backed with B-side basically, which you don't get on downloads. So yeah, Glory Days, 1985. It charted at number 9. So because there's 4 songs, I'm just going to try and fill it out a little bit. So Bruce, 21 studio albums, 23 live albums, 77 singles, 66 music videos, and over 100 million worldwide sales. So it opens with Glory Days from the album Born in the USA. The video is quite a good video. I watched it earlier on. It's sort of like a sort of student university, sort of bar sort of theme video, classic American rock guitar, snare and bass drum intro. Again, it's a solid rock American anthem and a massive vocal delivery by Bruce. It's typical 80s, big keyboard sound, big sound. It's just out there. It's one of those ones. And of course, you had Steven Van Zandt on, I think, the E Street Band on rhythm guitar. And it took me back to the Nelson Mandela concert, if you remember this, Sid. There was, the song he'd done, Biko,
Yes.
Peter Gabriel and Jim Kerr got Stephen Van Zandt up on stage. I just remembered that there was a Nelson Mandela concert. Yeah, so Biko, it was a good version. So then you've got track number 2. It's called "Stand on It," in brackets, a Sunderland scarf. At times it was played as an encore. This song, I think it's from the film Ruthless People, 1986, which I've not seen. This just reminded me of, you'll know this one said Surfing Bird by Ramones. I think the Cramps done as well. It's just very much reminded me of that. And then I couldn't get it in my head, especially the Cramps version, the Lux tune and microphone while he's singing, you know. But if you like sort of like a heavy, very heavy Jules Holland's rhythm and blues band, I would say this is for you. It just reminds me if Jules picked it up a bit. That's the sort of thing he would come up with. You got track 3, "Racing in the Street." This is from the album "Darkness from the Edge of Town." At first, my heart sank because I thought, it's a piano ballad, a rim shot, drummer, and I thought, here we go, it's going to last forever. But it actually brings the song together. I really like that bit. It's a song about a drag racer, dreams about a better life elsewhere. But and how I see it is, the drag racer was himself, not, the drag racing side of it. It's sort of quite emotional lyrics. I think it was a better song than I thought it was going to be. I think it's a reflection on life, relationships, dreams, and heartache, and that's life. Track 4, "Sherry Darling," from the album River. I mean, Steve, if you want to jump in with this one, but it's remember the song The Mavericks, I Just Want to Dance the Night Away. It just reminded me of that. I mean, I've not heard any Bruce Springsteen stuff apart from the singles that were on MTV, Top of the Pops at the time, which I used to set my video recorder for. I was lucky enough, I had long play, it was okay. But this reminds me of the Mavericks song. Again, big sound, big production. It's got like a Louis feel, sort of like rock and roll sort of thing. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek with, I think, reference that some men have with their wives, girlfriends, mothers-in-law. So that sort of thing, it's quite humorous. I think Chris Difford from Squeeze would have probably put lyrics down to, but it's all tongue-in-cheek. That is the review. So to me, it's like, hats off to him for what he's achieved. And I just thought it was a bit like a limpet, it stays grounded there, firm, consistent, but it's going to get a 7.5 for me out of 10. It was okay. It was all right. I didn't mind it at all. So just a couple of other things, Steve, as well. I just wanted to say, just obviously losing Paul Di'Anno, a singer from Iron Maiden, I've just got to put that out there. It was a big loss. I think the first 2 albums are outstanding. And obviously Bruce took over the Killers tour. It was a sad loss, but he had a lot of mental and medical and physical health issues over the years anyway. But it's a sad day. Also, you're talking about songs for the team coming on to today. I was listening to It's Coming Home, Newcastle. What about that one by Buskers? You know the song?
Yeah, they played a lot before the match. It's a great song. I remember. Is it called Ronnie? I think it was called Ronnie.
Yeah, Ronnie Lambert. He used to do papers for my granddad at the post office.
I was doing a demo years and years ago in a place called Sam's in the town. We were doing a demo, and Ronnie was in before us. It was Ronnie, us, and then the Lighthouse family. So there's the 3 of us all going in at different times. And Ronnie was a great fella. Died really young, didn't he? Sadly. But I remember chatting to him for ages because he did a follow-up single. I think he was doing the follow-up single when we were doing our demo at the time, or one of our demos. Lovely fella. Great song.
He actually did an album. If you check out Busker's album, it's really, really good. I mean, he did a great song about the Great North Run, which was never picked, which was never adopted by Brendan Foster and the Great North Run people, which I think is a travesty, and it might happen at some point, but it should have been picked up. He did. You need to really just look for it. You can find it on Spotify, and it is fantastic. And there's been a couple of people like Paul Martin's kept his legend alive. He's done his own versions of Ronnie's songs, and he did Going Up, of course, when Newcastle got promoted.
Going Up,
He did the much maligned, for him anyway, Magnifique, which was supposed to come out when Newcastle won the league in 95-96. He had hundreds of audio tape versions made of it, and of course it never saw the light of day. I've still got a couple of copies of that somewhere, but Ronnie was a good songmaster. He was a Jehovah's Witness, When I went to his funeral, it was a Jehovah's Witness funeral, and it was listen, fascinating guy, lovely guy. His family is still all around. His son owns the copyright to his music and that now, but takes immense pride in hearing it played. But I think it would be great if it was played on a more regular basis at the.
It does get played occasionally, though. It's a cracker. It's an absolute cracker.
Touching on Bruce Springsteen, you did ask us for your opinion, Rob. I mean, you said that's the first time you've listened to Bruce. You need to listen to his back catalogue, mate. Honestly, there's something there for everybody. Bruce is one of the best songwriters and one of the best musicians.
Everything up to Thunder Love's amazing.
Oh, mate, honestly, one of the best, certainly one of the best I've ever seen live. And I've seen him live, as you know, 6 times in the last 3 years, and probably go and see him again next year. But Bruce Springsteen, well worth going to see. So
I'm going to see him twice next year in Manchester Arena. I've had to virtually remortgage my house.
Good venue.
Can I just put a point about that, though? It's an absolute disgrace. The price of the tickets is an absolute joke. It's a farce. It really is.
Go on, what have you paid, Sid?
Right. See, my wife's around now. I've gone 2 nights, so I bought tickets for me and my wife, and then my little one, Josie, goes, "Oh, I wanted to go, Dad," and Karen's going, "Oh," pretending that she'd never heard it. So I ended up going one night. I think it was 180 quid a ticket. So that's about right. In the end, I've swapped it with my mate Ian's going to go with us, and then the following week I'm going with my wife and my daughter. And then they were like 220 a ticket. Honestly, so I've spent about £1,000 on two concerts. It's an absolute it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And I'm virtually in the same seats, but because of this dynamic pricing rubbish, it's an absolute joke. It really is.
The bottom line is now that they've chosen to charge more for gigs because they don't make the money from streaming anymore.
I'm going to see Paul Heaton, £35. Everywhere in the venue is the same. I saw The Cure a year and a half ago, and it was like 65 quid everywhere, the same price. And again, he came out recently and said, "Oh, we make plenty of money from it. We won't charge more than that. We do very, very well, and we're very comfortable from the amount we charge." It's an absolute farce. It really is a scandal. A scandal.
Said I've got a concert end of next month, £25 in Dundee. Getting a lift there, getting a lift back. Brilliant. 25 quid.
Honestly, it sticks in my craw. So there you have it.
I know.
All right, Sid, what are you bringing us this week?
Sorry if I gripe there. I'm just checking what I've got. I've gone with the Eels. So it comes from my mate Ian, who's had a few references today. The Deconstruction. Now, this is not the type of album where people would immediately. This does not summarize the Eels up as a band. I just love this album. It's a very laid-back, almost Americana album. It's an album about reconciliation with his wife, although ironically, I think they divorced subsequently. It's an album where he thought he was almost retired, so he started writing songs over 4 years, and then he just realized he'd had an album's worth of material. So the vast majority of the album's slow, laid-back, but it's a beautiful late-night album. And you have albums that suit certain times of the day, like, for example, on a Saturday evening, I might play Dexy's Midnight Runners, Searching for the Young Soul Rebels, because it gets you all up and you're all ready to go out for a night out. But this is a lovely sort of Sunday evening album, like laid back, real lovely little groove. It's got some cracking tracks. The title track's brilliant. Bone Dry is a little bit rockier, but his melancholy voice is just lovely. We've got Rusty Pipes, which sounds like a double entendre, but it's got a lovely drum groove and lovely little soft keys, which almost sound childish, but so well. Epiphanies is like a lovely string song. Today is like the big uplifting song on it. It's like really sort of poppy almost. Sweet Scorched Earth, beautiful ballad for his former wife, a declaration of love. It's so beautiful. The lyrics are just so good. Be Hurt's very jazzy. It's just generally a terrific album, really, really good. Yes, there are definitely better albums to go and listen to regarding the Eels, but they are a great band. It's a lovely, laid-back, sad, chill album, if you like. Yeah, absolutely top draw.
And you've always brought us a book in these days. So what have you brought us?
Yes. So I've gone Things the Children Should Know, which is by the singer of the Eels, Mark Oliver Everett. He gets known as E. Okay. And it's a fascinating book. Pete Townsend writes the blurb on it, and he describes it as a book of genius. It's one of the best autobiographies I've ever read by a musician. It's very, very clever. It talks about basically his whole family are dead. It's really sad. He's discovered his dad dead in the living room at 19, and his dad was the scientific genius Hugh Everett III. His dad came up with the parallel universe theory before Stephen Hawking did. And so there's a documentary on his dad. His dad was very, very famous, really very well up there in terms of science. His mother died very, very young, unfortunately. His sister committed suicide. So you think, oh my God, it's going to be an absolute downer. But it's not. There are parts of it which are very, very funny, tempered with this sadness. So he talks about when he was younger and he was stealing cars, he was doing loads of drugs, doing everything bad in life, really. But then he sort of flipped his life around, and then he got into writing music. Talks about the fact that he claims to have to wear glasses because he went to see The Who and a laser caught him in the eye. I'm not sure I buy that at all. But the book is beautifully written. As an English person as I am in terms of the language and the construction, is beautifully written. His vocabulary is outstanding, and his lyrical style is just superb. It's one of the better ones. So you can almost laugh and cry constantly throughout the book. There are some real moments of sadness and pain, and then there are, as I say, there are some real moments of absolute raw, spit your coffee out laughing. It's one of those books. So well written, and I recommend the audio book because he had one of his former band members. I think it might be the guy called the Chet. So he goes under the Chet, and he reads it, and it's superb. Or it might be Butch. It's one of the two guys, but magnificent. It really is a great, great read. Even if you're not into the band, it's such an unusual style book that you could easily just dip into it and read it and go, oh, okay, I didn't know anything about him. And you don't really need to know about the band. It is just fantastically written and really well written.
Jobber Joni says Hugh Everett came up with a multi-universe theory. And Davey Eddie says Noel Gallagher was saying Ed Sheeran has a guitar and a foot pedal and charges £100 for arena tickets. So, what do you think of The Cure? Asks Scoogs. I think this person might know you, Rob, do they?
I'll mirror this to Sid. Sid, what are your thoughts on Oasis? You're going to get the same answer.
Okay.
Listen, I love The Cure, but I'll tolerate Oasis. I think is the phrase I'd use.
I was going to say there's no cure for Oasis as far as Sid's concerned.
Sid,
Rob, go on,
sorry, Sid, what was that Bruce Springsteen album you were going to recommend?
There's loads. I mean, honestly, it depends on your mood. Knowing the stuff that you like, I think Darkness on the Edge of Town is the one that you like the most.
It's a good album.
It's a fantastic album. It's dark. It's obviously it's a really deep album, but it's got a bit of like real guitar music on as well. It's a fantastic album. It might be my favorite. I'm not sure. It depends on the weekly basis. It varies. But Darkness on the Edge of Town, I think, would be the one that you would really like from my understanding of what you're listening to.
I thought you were going to suggest Tunnel of Love, and I was going to ask you, is that also available in paperback?
It's magnificent, but it's very much more like an Americana album.
Rob, as always, thank you for giving us a musical interlude. We'll see you next week, mate.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care, man. Look after yourself.
Cheers out. And you. Bye-bye.
Okay, last 10 minutes of the show. Let's just get back to some of the football side of things and the questions that you've asked. Sparky D says, do you lads like inverted wingers like Gordon, or revert to how it was? I mean, I like a formation that's going to win us games, Sid. And at the moment, we're shooting ourselves in the foot by not shooting, aren't we? It's as simple as that. I'm not a fan of inverted wingers. I like 4-4-2, but it's been outdated for so long.
For a while it will be. It'll come back in at some point. But it depends, because I was left-footed and I was just like putting on the right, bizarrely. So there you have it. But I think one of each is the way I would look at it. Because you've got a bit of variation, and then flip them. I think we don't do enough of flipping them during the game, and just varying it. Because as a centre forward, it must be great just to, Solano ball whipping it into Shearer. It's much easier than having to cut inside and then try and bend it off the outside of your foot. that sort of thing. Or if you remember Robert banging them in on the left-hand side with all that whip and pace, it's much harder to do if you haven't cut in and see knock it on the outside of your foot. So for me, I would like to maybe see one of each is the way I would look at it, and then just make them cross over on occasions as well. Unfortunately, we're really lacking on the right-hand side. I thought Murphy was terrible the other day, and I've been bigging him up recently as well. I think he's played quite well recently, but just had an absolute stinker on Saturday. He's entitled to that. But we're clearly lacking somebody on the right who's going to go up and score goals and create chances. It's so obvious, it's so obvious.
A couple of other points. Davey Eddy says that we could tell there was frustration in the crowd. I was supremely frustrated. Someone mentioned it's 186 corners.
No, it can't be.
And correct, Steve. Burns should take a run at the ball from a corner. Davey also says, we all said when we get near our full team, it's full steam ahead. Everton, Wimbledon and Brighton games have been a mystery, just collapsing in the final third, and we keep giving the ball away. And Gary says, see, Villa are looking at Mbeumo now. Looks
he's top player already. Villa.
Yeah.
It's frightening how good a squad Villa are building. It's really sad to me, actually,
Frustrating from our point of view.
Because we all know that it should really be us at this point, but hey, well done to them. He sees through gritted teeth.
Yeah. Newcastle United travel to Chelsea this weekend. We play the first of our League and Cup double header on Sunday at Stamford Bridge. It's 2:00 kickoff. It is live on Sky Sport. And as always, 3,000 tickets that have been allocated to Newcastle fans have sold out. Callum Wilson may return to the squad for the first time this season, but Kieran Trippier, Sven Botman and Jamal Lascelles all remain unavailable. Still no news on the availability of Matt Targett. Both Joe Linton and Dan Burn now are one booking away from an automatic one-match suspension. As for Chelsea, they have a Europa Conference match against Panathinaikos in Greece on Thursday night, hence the Sunday kickoff. So that's could put things in a bit more of a positive light for Newcastle. Referee has been announced even this early on. Simon Hooper, first Magpie appointment of the current season from the referee from Wiltshire. The last time he took charge of a game was the 4-2 win at Brentford. He also took charge of a 4-2 home win over Chelsea in November 2023.
Bring him on, then.
And the best a man can get, Jared Gillette, will be on VAR. So let's hope there's no controversial decisions which Newcastle are banking on to get something out of that game. Yes, first of two matches in the space of a few days against Chelsea then, and it's always a good game down there. I always enjoy it. I'm going down again this weekend. I always enjoy these games. Don't ask us why. London's never really been a happy hunting ground for years for Newcastle. But I've seen more positive displays at Chelsea than I have anywhere else. Last season, we lost 3-2. Isaac and Murphy scored. Previous seasons, though, 1-1 in the League Cup, and then we drew 1-1 in the Premier League as well. And then we lost 1-0 in 21-22, which that game, I still don't know how we lost it, And
yeah, I remember watching that, yeah.
Pretty sure that was one of Dan Burns' first games for Newcastle, and I just remember how great he played in that game. And then I think the game came; it was a ball over the top, and he just beat them to the ball, and they scored in the dying embers of the game. But it's been okay the last few visits to Chelsea, so I'm not as this is the one that I think if we're going to get a result in London, this is the one. This and Spurs are usually places where I feel at the moment we could probably get a result. So how do you see this one going? Do you think he might go with Wilson and Isak?
No, I don't. I just don't see Wilson playing. If he comes on, he'll come on for 10 minutes. He'll fade him in bit by bit. I don't know. I tell you what, if you're maybe 1-1 now, I'd snap your arms off. I really would. Chelsea are a really good team. I thought they were really unlucky against Liverpool the other day. They sort of threw it away, really, in terms of getting the result at Liverpool. But they're a really good team. They've got some terrific players. They're starting to score now as well. They look a really top team, in my opinion. I think I see them almost as nailed on as the top 4 team this season. I really do. Whereas I personally think we should have been considerably higher. But at the minute, I fear a lot at the moment. I really do. I'm not very optimistic, which is not really like me. So I'm not. Yeah, I've hold no hopes for Saturday. I'm more optimistic towards the League Cup game than I am the league game. I think we'll win the League Cup game, and I think we'll get beat on Saturday. Is the way I see it.
Okay. So listen. Thanks for your honesty, as always, Sid. I'm inclined to disagree. I think we'll get a point this weekend, and I think we will. I think we will win the League Cup game, but I think it'll be tight. We're not a goal-scoring team, and you went for 3-3 against Brighton, and I went for a 1-0 win against Newcastle for Newcastle. I knew it wouldn't be goals, and that's what problem at the minute. And until we solve that missing link and put the ball in the back of the net, we really are going to struggle, you know. Just before we finish, Rob, if you're still watching, just get the album, The Very Best of Bruce Springsteen. It's genuinely brilliant. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching this afternoon. I'm back tomorrow. Geordie's here. Geordie's there tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. Thursday will be me and Gibbo, 6 o'clock. The Amigos will be on Friday at 5 o'clock. On Saturday, it will be Joe Allen's show at 6 o'clock. And on Sunday, it'll be Those Were the Days. No professionals at the weekend. I'm down in Chelsea, so I'll not be back to do it. So thanks to everybody for tuning in. Thanks to Sid. Thanks to Rob. Don't forget to subscribe. Songs from the Attic 1977 Sid's channel if you want a little bit more music in your life. Sid, thanks very much, mate.
Thank you very much, folks. Take care. Look after yourselves. Bye-bye.